Sci-Fi Channel continues the first ever showing of the entire Star Wars trilogy, complete and unedited. We now return to the film that began it all, Star Wars, as the Sci-Fi Channel continues this first ever televised showing of the entire Star Wars trilogy. For all of us who acted in Star Wars, I guess the greatest challenge was all that formal dialogue. I mean, you could type it, but you couldn't say it. And my character was the most regal of all, the most archly drawn. The challenge was to make it sound conversational and not merely bizarre. I remember one line I had was when Leia was a prisoner on the Death Star. I had to say, "Governor Tarkin, I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board." Well, I wanted to loosen it up and say, you know, when I got on the ship, there was this smell, but George wanted to stick to the script and had me read that incredibly arch dialogue. He informed me that I was really upset. But you know, my personality sort of fit that character, unfortunately. So I could be a little intimidating and daunting, and Leia needed that. Han Solo was another matter entirely. He was the most irreverent and the most contemporary also, so Harrison got the opportunity to change this dialogue of all of us. You'll notice what I mean as we return to Star Wars. In Star Wars, the lead actors didn't have it nearly as tough as some of the poor supporting players who were trapped inside those costumes. A lot of people think James Earl Jones played Darth Vader, but he only supplied the voice. Inside that suit was a very nice man named Dave Prowse, and there was nothing ominous about him but his size. He was a 6'7" bodybuilder from Devon in the English countryside. We used to call him Darth Farmer. He could hardly see through the visor, and he was always hitting his head, especially when he was about to come in and torture me. And roasting inside the 28-pound C-3PO costume was an actor named Anthony Daniels. Tony gave 3PO that perfectly prissy voice that everyone else made fun of, but C-3PO might have sounded very different. At one point, George Lucas almost replaced him with Stan Freberg to dub in a fast-talking Brooklyn accent. I said I feel very fortunate to have been part of the Star Wars films, and I know Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford would agree, especially in this form. I think Harrison was the luckiest, though. For an actor, Han Solo was the best part in the movie. He was the mercenary one, he was the funny one, and he was basically the only adult of the three of us. And we've all seen how Harrison's talents in Star Wars became the most translatable to other starring roles. I think Mark had a tougher job. Luke Skywalker is the earnest one in the male ingenue role. Though the other character evolves, Luke is essentially a boyish character, and Mark had to play it perfectly straight. And Princess Leia was a very unusual character. Not a sex symbol, not a damsel in distress. It's kind of a take charge kind of a broad, and the bad guys blow up her planet, they kill her family, they ruin her album collection. She goes around the universe avenging herself, which, you know, I can relate to stuff like that. I think I handled that okay. We now return to the film that began it all, Star Wars, as the Sci-Fi Channel continues this first ever televised showing of the entire Star Wars trilogy.